What is the deal, Panther fans? Your boy, the professor, a.k.a. Tony Dunn, on the C3 Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions. I'm hanging out with my boy, Cody Lashney. I'm sure he's monitoring the YouTube chat. Introduce yourself to the show, and hopefully you got some good news about the audio.
I do have good news about the audio. Mainly, we have audio. That's the only thing you need to know. Yes. And yeah, man, I'm in the chat. I'm with the homies. Shout out to Shockhead, Moneybag, Ryan Hart. We got the mainstays in the room. We're ready for a great show tonight. There's so much to talk about, Professor. And you know what? I think that's on me and you to do it. So let's just do it.
That is the truth. Tonight's episode, An Enemy Within, episode 18.37. The Redskins were coming off a short week, and after getting waxed by the Saints, and the Panthers felt somewhat enthused after a historic win with a game-winning 63-yard field goal the week before. We should have been rested a little bit, 1 week off a bye, but instead we go to Washington and look undisciplined, sloppy at times, and did not have enough fortune like we did against the Giants. We didn't get that lady luck. The flags didn't go our way, and the Panthers fall. I think the score was 23-17, if I am not mistaken. Cody, it's a tough win for everybody, and we're going to get into the details of the show. I want you to be thinking about this as I introduce all the other jazz. Who is the enemy within? If there was one, was there a turncoat that got us ambushed? All right, guys, we appreciate everybody in the YouTube chat listening on Periscope. Please do us a solid. Turn your phone to portrait mode. Smash that thumbs up button. I'd like to get every single person who watches the show to just like the show. That's a good first step. If you want to get frisky, you can share the link to the show with a friend on a message board on Facebook or Reddit or wherever you hang out and talk about football. We'd appreciate your help in growing the podcast. Subscribe to us on Twitter at @cat_chronicles, and we're on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, where you can even donate to the show. Just check the show notes. You can buy a nice Stand with Cam shirt. You can do all types of things to help us grow Panther Nation, the longest running Panthers podcast. All right, let's start this, Cody. We're going to go to the enemy within. Who do you think? Is there one? Am I being a little dramatic?
Well, you know, I don't know if you're being over dramatic, but I will say this. As someone that has been following the Panthers team for a long time now, it genuinely does feel like on Twitter and on Reddit and on all these different avenues that the focus has never, ever been more on Ron Rivera than it is now. A lot of people are really upset with what we feel are the fundamental philosophies of Panthers football. And we have a few examples that we're going to show here tonight.
I'm queuing up number one right now. First drive of the game, Cody, before I press play on the video, the first drive of the game, I asked on Twitter, I said, was there one drive that stuck on in your craw more than any other drive? It just happened to be rewatching part of the game, and there was a specific drive that bothered me. We'll talk about that on the show a little bit later. But the most mentioned was the opening drive that ended like this. You can describe the video. It's playing right now. Third down. The Panthers run the ball. I think it was the third consecutive run, correct?
Third down. It's the third consecutive run. It's the middle of the field. All we've done is run. And by the way, not only have we done nothing but run the football, but then what every team does is they continue to stack the box. They put everyone right up against us, and they know that we're going to run the football. And Ron Rivera, knowing this, is 100% fine with us continuing to run the football. They were daring us to throw the ball on numerous occasions, but whatever. It's third down. We don't convert the play. It's 4th and 1, And it goes back to this notion. You have the best short yard line weapon in the NFL. And by the way, not even just Cam barreling the football and running for the first down. Cam has proven to be able to be perfect on the bootleg. He can throw the ball whenever you need him to on fourth down. There are scenarios in which you can depend on Cam Newton moving the change for us. And Ron Rivera refuses to let this offense run through the quarterback. And it's so frustrating that in the middle of the field, you need 1 yard, and it just doesn't happen.
All right, so I know this is the silly part in me. While everybody was getting upset on Twitter, and I could hear everybody, the way I've been watching the games, Cody, I've been trying to remove myself a little bit from distraction. I don't even switch between other games a lot of times. Got family around. It's Sunday. A lot of things are going on. One game, one TV, one set of eyeballs, all in. That's how I roll lately. And I watched this, and I'm like trying not to get on my phone because it can be distracting to the game watching experience at times because you're just wanting to comment and talk and all that. And I said, man, when this happened, I was like, I am not getting on Twitter right now. Mugs are blowing up. But for me, I was a little disappointed we didn't kick it.
Oh,
After last week, I'm saying, hey, that's like 71 yards. Maybe Gano's got a shot. And if he doesn't make it, we turn the ball over right where a failed fourth down conversion would have gone. Now, a couple of things on my mind. I think that the criticism for Ron Rivera on this drive, it's exhausting to me to always hear people like, we don't have a modern NFL team. We don't coach the way Ron Rivera is old school, and it's not going to work. I mean, I understand that, it's exciting to go for it.
Hey, Tony, I had to interrupt you, man. The video's down.
The video's down?
Yep. I tried to refresh it a bunch of times.
It says it's streaming on my end. It says good, healthy stream, according to YouTube.
Yeah, mine is not up. Let me see if anyone says...
Guys, do you have a healthy stream and video in the chat room? So, just to continue, I'll keep talking while you check on that.
All right.
The thing with Ron Rivera to me is that, like, hey, this is expected of him. It was the first drive of the game. If you go back and you hope for the Panthers... say that DJ Moore had stopped that ball before it goes into the end zone and you pinned them down on the 3. You were able to muster up a good defensive stance. You get the ball back in good position, and you don't have to take the risk that early. Video good here. One person says no video. So some people getting video, some people not. This is crazy. It
might be a YouTube problem. Every time I refresh my YouTube, it doesn't even load up. So that might not be us.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a YouTube problem. I hope not. I hope that you guys can enjoy all the glory that is the C3 podcast. So let's just keep going. I'm recording the audio. The stream says it's good. Some people said, Tim Stelling says, video good here, sound good here. I am having trouble refreshing YouTube myself on my own computer. Now, so I do think that it's easy to say, hey, I wish we would have gone for it. I wish we would have gone for it. Do you think, though, that the pressure is getting to Ron Rivera, that the noise is getting to him potentially?
I would say no, because Ron Rivera does not strike me as the type to check Twitter or check what Panther fans are saying. It seems to me he's a very insular man in that kind of way. I don't know that anything would cause Ron to move in a direction that is more going for it, more, willing to take a risk, unless he felt that he was at risk of losing the division or that this season was getting ready to slip away. And I mean, I'm not mad at that either. I don't want a coach to necessarily react to what every Panther fan is thinking or feeling at the moment. But I do feel that Ron Rivera, it just seems like now more than ever, there is a microscope over the man and all the decisions that he has made. So, I'm not entirely certain that he's feeling anything right now. But if the results don't start to turn around, he will. He definitely will, and that's a promise.
All right, I'm going to, guys, because some people are having, it sounds like this is a YouTube thing, and some things are not working. I just linked it over in the YouTube chat. If you guys can still see the chat, that's the link to the Periscope video. So it says everything is working on my end, so we're just going to continue to plow through. Going to this, I wonder, but you said that the noise, he probably doesn't check these things. He did say in the press conference, though, that there was some chat last week, but recently, about the lack of pressure from the defensive line. So the noise is there. It seems like Ron Rivera always coaches better when the noise is there, when he is on the hot seat, right? I mean, we've seen this in the past. Now, while the microscope is on Ron Rivera, I don't think it's time to panic just yet. I think that we have the most talented roster I've seen with the Carolina Panthers, probably under Cam Newton, at least offensively. I think that's arguable. We don't know what the defense is going to be just yet. There could be some concern that we're getting old or not playing up to the potential there. But we are 3-2, Cody. I think we've been adequate. I think we've been a 3-2 team where we've won a game that we probably shouldn't have, where we lost a game where we probably shouldn't have. But we've been adequate, and this team hasn't played. We haven't seen all the cylinders firing at one time, and I think that is an indication that we can go up at least. We can, is that let's not worry. We get better with time. We haven't seen the best product is what I'm saying. The negative side of that, Cody, is we've lost a game on the schedule that we had circled. We almost lost a game that we had circled in the New York Giants that have been getting lambasted by the rest of the NFL. So we don't feel convinced at any means that this is the best team that we've had in a while, despite the talent on the roster.
Right. And, to kind of piggyback on something you were saying, we have the most talented team that we've had in a long time. And I think one of the things that people keep on bringing up is that even while that is true, we have very talented players that aren't seeing the field. So, for example, when you're playing from behind and, you're not even afforded the comfortability of running the football, you have to pass the football to move it downfield. You have a weapon like Curtis Samuel, who is finally back. He's healthy. His heart is on his side now. His heart will go on. And now you're not putting him on the field. You're talking about a guy that makes separation better than anyone on our team right now. And by the way, I know that's a lofty, praise to heap on him, but it's true. All you have to do is look at the film. Curtis Samuel has great routes, and he's able to make separation from the defender. So then why did Curtis Samuel only see, maybe 3 snaps the whole game? And then C.J. Anderson, even less? Where was Ian Thomas, our brand new tight end? There are personnel decisions that have to come from the top that aren't being made. So it's, we're not putting our best team on the field. Why is that? Does Ron Rivera and our coaches just not believe in them? What's going on? because everyone is really upset about this, and I feel like that's one of the major reasons why Ron Rivera has come on under a tremendous amount of criticism, and I feel deservedly so.
So we go back and we now I do wonder how much of the offensive personnel decision making really goes back to Ron. I was gonna hope, if this is the case, everybody says, look at I am tired of people saying that the offense hasn't changed that much from Mike Shula, and the problems that we still have are the same problems we've always had, which indicates that it's Ron Rivera. The reason that's not satisfying to me is that I think the Panthers offense has looked significantly different in many ways. Not philosophically entirely, but I would not say that it has felt like last year's offense. But I would hope that that fell on Norv Turner more so. And if I was thinking about the relationship between Ron Rivera, his assistant coaches, how the game flows goes, I wouldn't think that he would be as responsible. Maybe we should, if it's personnel, shouldn't that fall on Norv Turner for not being that? Or do you really think that Ron feels comfortable leaning on Norv to play to Christian McCaffrey and only go single back all the time?
Well, see, that's the thing. We all want to, heap praises on Norv Turner for what he's done with Cam Newton. And by the way, deservedly so, Cam Newton has played a lot better. You see it in the stats. You see it in, how effortlessly he's able to move the ball to his first and second option. I mean, things are vibing. But when it comes to personnel decisions, I mean, listen, if you're, as I said, you're forced to throw the ball, you're playing from behind, you need people on the field that are going to move the chains, and yet you don't put in your fastest young players, then I don't know if that's on Norv, then he deserves his amount of criticism for doing that. I do think he has been an upgrade, but I really do wonder how much Ron Rivera is dictating what he is and isn't allowed to do. And it's all speculation. I mean, there's no way that any of us can absolutely know this. But
well, you would think this is that when it comes, like Ron Rivera said, he didn't think about going for it on fourth down, right? Isn't that what you said? He didn't even think about it.
Yeah, he said in his press conference, never even crossed his mind. At midfield, I think you're at the 49, maybe the 50. And remember, this is a man that falls back on his defense. Okay, he doesn't mind punting and letting the defense do the work.
Which I don't mind either.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that I disagree with that, but listen, if you're going to fall back on your defense and you trust them so much, which that's another issue that we'll hit on, but if you trust our defense so much, then why don't you trust them at midfield, or why don't you trust Cam Newton or C.J. Anderson to be able to make a play and move the ball?
It's so early in the game. Like I said, I can still see that the natural inclination is Ron Rivera that you kick it, you can stop their offense. You haven't seen a lot from their offense on tape that indicates they can push the ball downfield all that effectively. You back them up again. DJ Moore bats that down on the 2, and all of a sudden it really works out in changing your field position. So I would just say this: it was so early in the game. Now, I mean, I guess that again, that's what people are saying. It's not his natural inclination to do that, and that's the problem. I think though is that if he didn't think about it, I don't understand how the communication lines work on the headsets. For me, I would think that on offense, that him and Ron Rivera and Norv Turner should have direct communication if need be. Right. Like that just seems like this is that Ron Rivera and Norv Turner should be talking, and Norv Turner and Scott Turner should be talking, right? And Ron Rivera can interject at times. Now, I would think that I would be hoping that if you, like you're saying, is that's when Norv says, we go for it, we got this, go for it. Now, you did run the ball effectively at that point. I have been off-put by a little bit by people being upset that we ran the ball 4 times to open the game up. We got a first down. We got to 3rd and 1. And and I know that I've heard some people say, well, you shouldn't even have to get a 3rd down. Well, like, you kind of, if you can get a 3rd and 1, you're doing things right. So we got stopped on that 3rd and 1. Christian McCaffrey was right there. You know, and I do think there might be something left over from last week where we go for it on 3rd and 1 and we did a QB sneak against the Giants and we get stuffed in the 3rd quarter. Maybe that has something to do with it. But continuing, the last component before we move on to the cat calls, guys, we have a ton of calls tonight, a ton of fan interaction going on. The C3 Podcast is the Panthers podcast that's powered by the fans, guys. We've started out this show as just a halftime hangout of 2 Panther fans that in 2012 would call each other on the telephone and talk about the game during halftime. And now it's blossomed into the longest running Panthers podcast out there, and you guys are powering it on the cat calls line. The number is 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098, and you can call in anytime and be a part of the show. We'll play the message on the next podcast. Cody, before we get to those, though, we got to finish with the theme of the show, which is an enemy within. I'm going to cue up this. It seems like most people were upset about the final drive of the game. Here's the first throw from Cam Newton in the red zone. Probably throwing from about the 20. He would have to throw it off the 25. Now, Cam Newton misses this pass to Christian McCaffrey. He was under duress a little bit. He was not just operating from a completely clean, no pressure feeling. He's backing up. Cody, where does this go wrong right away? He had a man open.
Well, I want to start by saying this. This is a low percentage throw given the circumstances. You know, so there's a few things. Generally, you do want to step into that throw. Okay, but if Cam Newton steps into that throw, a linebacker annihilates him. Okay, so that's one thing. Number 2, the play it was almost a completion. I mean, the ball was just a little bit out front. Yeah, it was just a hair.
Just a little hot. It was just a little. See, this is Cam Newton's problem all the time. He's got a little whistle on his throw every time.
Yeah, and everyone's making it like, oh my God, he was wide open. It was dead to rights. That was a tough throw to make. And that was a tough situation considering that, really the whole game, his whole pocket was collapsing around him.
Now, I do agree. So I think you're pointing out some phenomenal things here, Cody, and this is what I think is a big deal about this is, one, the throw is not as easy as people made it out to be.
Not at all.
Right? It's not, it's not unbelievable, but it's one of those throws, if it works, you're like, oh my God, this dude that ball's out. That's what we're talking about. He was there. It was close, couple feet off, maybe, if even that. To me, though, Cody, what you look at and you can see in that play, and other people I think you could see in that game is while Cam Newton doesn't get sacked, the pocket is clean enough for him to not get sacked. The whole time they're backing up pretty hard, like really hard. Is that, yeah, they're not surrendering their sack, but man, they're 3 steps drop back the dang center is. So they're in Cam Newton's lap in many ways.
To Jeff Hodge in our chat, who says 20 other quarterbacks in the league make that throw. I'm sorry, man, you're just wrong. You are 100% wrong. I've seen Tom Brady miss that throw. I've seen Aaron Rodgers, who is the most accurate quarterback that I've seen. I've seen him miss those throws when the pocket breaks down. What happens is we depend on Cam Newton all the time in the most high-pressure moments. And then,
but he is paid to do that, and that is kind of what that's what you get in the NFL. When you want to be the star, you are the guy in the high pressure moments.
And that's 100% true. That is a legit thing to make. But to everyone acting like Cam just threw the whole game away, you could not be more wrong. That there were so many plays in this game that if they were to have gone a little bit differently, then things we wouldn't have been in that situation. Now the one.
All right, let's go to the second. Here's the second to last throw.
Okay, the second to last throw. This is the one to Devin Funchess. In my opinion, this one is on Cam Newton. Now, in my opinion, he figured that Devin would have won the route and would have been a little bit further in that route as he threw the ball. But even still, he needs to look and see that Devin Funchess did indeed beat the defender that was on him. If he didn't do that, then you have to move on to someone else. He threw it to Devin, and that was a bad play. And, I mean, listen, I'm willing to chalk that up to just a bad play. Cam shouldn't have thrown it. But it wasn't like even on that play there was a ton of other options that were open to him. So
let's put it this way: the first play is not an easy play; it's a makeable play, but it didn't work. It didn't go down. Cam Newton wasn't the hero on that play, but I think two things encouraging from both of these. I don't think either of these are bad reads. That's the good thing, is I think Cam Newton's seeing the field okay. And I know that people are going to say, look, well, what about Greg Olsen screaming for the ball in the middle on that second one? I'm going to go back to the second one right now. And while I agree with that, is that I understand that a lot of people are going to be upset about that, because you see Greg Olsen in that vein right there. But I do think this is that Devin Funchess had been the most doggish receiver out there. I think he saw one-on-one and said, we're going for it. And he maybe have predetermined a little bit as soon as he saw that Devin Funchess got one-on-one that I'm just going to go and we're going to do the same exact thing we did earlier where Devin Funchess caught it over that guy. I think this, where I'm upset so far, Cody, out of all of these things, am I defending Cam? No, I don't think so. Is this? He missed the throw. Maybe 20 other quarterbacks make that throw, but they don't make it every time, right?
Right.
That's for sure in that situation. So here, where I'm upset with is I think you saw it on that Devin Funchess play. Cam looks a little gassed right there. And like he looks a little tired at that point. I mean, I know it's the end of the game. Everybody's tired. I was tired watching it, exhausted. But this goes back to me. He converts the 3rd and 1 on the run. We don't call the timeout at 1:08. Clock clicks down to 42. I think all of a sudden that put a lot more urgency on the matter that had to be there. So I think if you're in that down and distance without the rush of the clock and of the previous play and all those things compiling, and you could be more composed a little bit. So there. Now let's go to the last throw, which was now. I would say a lot of crying by Panther fans on this throw right here.
Crying for nothing, or
I don't know. Wait. Oh, I just showed the. Wait. I just showed the Funchess again. Did I? Let's see if this is the Funchess.
I don't know.
I know you can't see it.
My YouTube still will not load. So.
Yeah, I end up showing the Funchess twice. So here, anyway, let's talk about it really quickly. Again, we're on Periscope, guys. If you guys are having trouble watching us on YouTube, you can check out the podcast later on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio. All of it's viewing right now on Periscope. This seems to be a YouTube issue, even though YouTube says my stream strength is good, and that usually does not happen in this world. So the last play, Jarris Wright, it's a physical play. I don't know if I want to be the ref in that case that throws the flag, though.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, it's one of those things that those types of plays have not been called before, but there's definitely a case to make for throwing the flag on that. He had his hands on him before he even moved a yard or two, And, I mean, he wasn't able to get out of his route, and he was being held, and there was no one else open on that play. It definitely was a hold. But the fact that we even got to fourth down, I mean, yeah, that's a problem. You know, we should have been able to move the ball. I do think that, and see, this is another thing. We also don't know what Cam's primary option on those plays were either. He probably wasn't supposed to look, or you're supposed to look everywhere, but, you know, you have a primary read and primary receivers that you're supposed to scheme open. You're supposed to game plan for them to be open. And if they're not, then you move to your second and third and so on and so forth. Well, if you like your matchup with Devin on the outside, then, yeah, you might not see Greg Olsen right across the middle. You know, it's another thing where we should have been moving the ball forward with plays that were designed to get the first down, move the ball forward, make life easier on the offense instead of having to move 15 yards, move five at a time, and then put the ball in the end zone. I mean, that's kind of what I think. That's the temperature I felt from Panther fans online. And, yeah, that's kind of what's so frustrating about the whole thing. We absolutely could have won that game, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, I think you know, a lot of things didn't, you know, a lot of things stick in you, I guess, is that, and to me, when there's a little bit of mistakes everywhere. Defense didn't play. They played all right. We're getting more into it. We got plenty of time. We got a lot of show left in us. Let's get into some of these cat calls, Cody. The number's 252-228-5098. You could be a part of the show. You guys drive the conversation, and let's see what you guys got this week. Psych, somewhere.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his notebook? Who's that kid that can use one?
Hey, C3. This is Nova Black. And I've been listening to you guys for a couple seasons now. I finally got to watch the podcast on Facebook about a week ago. I don't usually get to catch you guys live in action, but I get the podcast because because I'm working so early in the morning, I'm usually asleep by the time you guys get to rolling. But I want to talk about last week's game against the Giants real quick. A lot of stuff I see that people not really talking about much when it came to the performance of the team. I think we performed very well coming out the bye, considering we haven't been that good coming out the bye. A lot of people are not talking about why the Giants were, you know, playing the Saints, battling it out with the Saints. We were at home on our couches probably watching them, not getting any real football action. Also, these guys got our former offensive coordinator, Mike Shula, who's familiar with our defense and our style of play and our players and their knacks and stuff like that. And they got our GM, Dave Gettleman. You know, DG, he pretty much, you know our team because the generation that they have now, well, some of them, you know, came from his administration, would you say. I like to say that Cam has been performing pretty decent. He's been performing way better. Our guys, like our wide receivers and stuff, we finally get to see Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore on the field at the same time. That was pretty fun to watch. I really think that our defense can get better. We'll get better with Thomas Davis out there coming back, you know, and our offense will get way better with Greg Olsen coming back. I think that game against the Washington will probably be a little bit easier for us because of the schemes that they use, like the spread offenses and stuff like that, I don't particularly recall us performing too bad against these types of offenses. And I think that's pretty much it for now. But I really wanted to point out the fact that we've been sitting down and these guys been playing ball, battling it out with the Saints, and you know, they came down here. They came down, you know, to Carolina to battle us, and we thought it was going to be a piece of cake. Well, a lot of us thought it would have been a piece of cake. I didn't really think it was going to be a piece of cake, but I knew we had our, you know, our work cut out for us. Anyway, let me quit rambling. I made my points. You guys keep pounding.
All right, thanks Nova Black for the call. I was meant to get that into the show. It came right after our, you know, kind of in the midweek. You know, you see Dave Gettleman out there, you know, the familiarity with the team. Now, how does this translate going into the Redskins game, I think, too, is that he said, hey, look at this. Is we're getting Olsen back. We're getting Thomas Davis back. You know, Thomas Davis made some positive plays, and I would say that Greg Olsen was pretty darn good in this game. It did throw into the question of having Greg Olsen out there forced us, I think, to reconsider the personnel groupings we've been using. And, look, Greg Olsen isn't a great blocker, even when his foot wasn't hurt. And I know that a lot of people have been concerned about Ian Thomas not being in the game enough. Cody, do you just wish they would have done better working these guys into the rotation more rather than – it seemed like we played them a lot too. That's my thing with Eric Reed and Olsen, and fearful of Matt Khalil. You better not play Matt Khalil even a damn snap when he comes back. But the thing is that not only do we bring these guys in, they made Olsen play that whole damn game like every snap, and I feel like TD was out there a ton. Not that they shouldn't be out there and be fresh, but it's not like they've been just healthy as a horse, at least for Olsen anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised how much they did decide to play him. But he did play well, and he made some big plays for us when it mattered, you know. Yeah, listen, though, if Greg is going to play, and then don't play him in the limited capacity. If he's not going to be able to come in and bring everything to this team, then we should have waited a little bit longer.
You could have put Ian in and given my man a breather.
Well, yeah, a breather, but listen, I mean, if it comes down to this, if we're not going to play Ian Thomas and we're not going to play Curtis Samuel, I'd rather have Greg Olsen out there for a majority of the plays just because that connection that Cam and Greg have built up over the years. So I'm a fan of it. I'm happy that they were able to put him out there and do some damage, and hopefully he's able to stay healthy and build on that performance.
All right, powering through these calls.
What up, C3? It's your boy T Hill. Actually calling from Idaho. But yes, there are Panther fans in Idaho. But I was just calling to bring up a point that I hear about Devin Funchess a lot. And I think Devin Funchess is actually slept on. Like, he makes catches that I just don't think guys appreciate what he brings to the table.
Amen.
I think that, you know, we don't have a guy like Julio Jones or AJ Green, and that's what a lot of people expect out of Funchess.
That's crazy. We shouldn't ask for that.
But he's really not. He's not that type of player. And then on top of that, with the receiving core in general, I feel like we're just doing it wrong. We need Funchess, DJ Moore, and Curtis Samuel. Those three out in the receiving group is ridiculous. Brings speed and talent to a whole other level, and it could open up Funchess to produce those plays that people are expecting out of him. On top of that, you know, the defense, yeah, it's been a little edgy, but, I mean, look at Dante Jackson. Dude's still up in interceptions. He's tied for most interceptions in the league currently as a rookie. I mean, that's pretty solid if you ask me. And I don't know. I think that last game there were some trip-ups. I personally think that the coaches with the time management had more to do with what the end result of that game was. But outside of that, I mean, I think Carolina still looks good, and I think there's still a lot of room for potential. North Turner said it too. said that there's still a lot of stuff that's untouched, and I believe that. I personally think DJ Moore is going to bring a whole other atmosphere, whole other level of talent to the floor. But that's all I got. And shout out to you guys.
Man, thank you for the call. Devin Funchess comes up in that game and makes a man catch, bro. Straight man catch. But I would say, arguably, I think the most impressive catch of his career. And the reason I say that is not that he hasn't made a better catch. It just looked like kind of the poster, like in basketball when you want to posterize a guy or put him on a poster, whatever it is, when you dunk on a dude. That's the equivalent of dunking on a dude. Actually, Cam Newton, when he actually dunked on that one dude's head, was really the equivalent. But this is the second equivalent of dunking on somebody. That's the poster you want of yourself if you're later in life on the wall in your trophy case or in the trophy room.
I have a theory. That Devin Funchess listens to our show and he goes, "Oh, I'm the salad man, am I?
Oh,
I'm the salad man. I went to Longhorn, baby. I had me a T-bone."
Yeah,
okay,
T-bone on salad, extra blue cheese.
Listen, man, I've been saying for a while now, I think Devin Funchess is the most dependable wide receiver on our team. If you look at the film, I mean, he's still not a great separation guy, but he's not going to be at this point. He's the type of guy on that kind of play.
He's 6'5". He can only be so separative.
But he has a select number of plays that he runs very well. And on those plays, Cam Newton trusts him. And as of right now, Devin has earned that trust. So, I mean, I feel in the past, maybe 3 games in a row, Devin Funchess has made a few plays like that, a lot of them on third down, and has just made some clutch, big boy plays, and that's what you need from a receiver, man.
I'd like to see this, is that I agree 100% that thinking that Funchess could be anywhere in the category. If you're comparing him to those number ones that people are saying, then that's just not fair. It's not a fair ask, I think. But I would like to see this, is I'd like to see Devin Funchess continue to grow in this season into a big time role. Kind of putting him in the likes of maybe like a Dez Bryant caliber receiver. Maybe not as good as Dez Bryant was at his top, right? But Devin Funchess is in a contract year. He's not going to quit this season. He's going to want more. He's going to want to get paid. And I'm glad to have him as a number 2. If you have 2 kind of 1Bs, and if DJ Moore can be a 1, like a straight 1, and Funchess was a 1B, I think that could be a good combination going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that we have said is the dependable number 2, and I think that's a role that fits him well. But listen, let's call a spade a spade. Right now, if he's our most dependable wide receiver, then he is the number 1 wide receiver.
True that.
Simple as that.
It's a matter of letters and numbers, folks. A becomes before B, 1 becomes before 2.
Chicago kid here. Obviously, after the Redskins game,
What's
all
up,
I can
buddy?
say is I was in a bar full of fans, and at least they got taken out by the Dolphins. But long story short, usually I'm pretty happy-go-lucky, but I'm pissed off this time. You can't get past 3 turnovers like that, especially in the field position that we gave the Redskins. And I don't understand why we have only chosen to open our playbook when our backs are against the wall. It's like we're like, oh yeah, we have this talented offense. Let's wait until we absolutely have to just unleash our playbook now that we're down by 17. It's just like, what the hell? Outside of that, I'm scared of our defense, man. I'm scared for our defense. They're just not the defense of the past couple of years. I don't understand it. Last but not least, I'll give Cam some props for still choosing to use DJ Moore on the offense. He made some decent plays there at the end after 2 huge mistakes so that he doesn't let it get to his head, hopefully. But outside of that, we just got to keep pounding, but we cannot play like that. Keep pounding, guys.
All right, Cody, when it comes to this, is that I think that the Cam Newton arm punt is questionable turnover. He's getting blasted when he throws it. It's a bad punt in my mind. So again, I mean, defending Cam there. I'm gonna defend DJ Moore here as well on the one where he's turning the ball upfield and Josh Norman punches it out. Josh Norman literally punched it clean like a fighter, bap, right on the top of somebody's head, bro. That's a tough play. Yeah, maybe as he gets bigger and stronger and older in the NFL, he'll have a little bit more vice grip on that football. But those types, it's kind of like when you get a helmet to the football, like you're like, protect the football, but at the same time, crap happens. The one that's bothersome, though, was the punt return. Fighting too hard for nothing. We talked about this on the post-game show, guys. You can check us out after the games. We do a show where you can call in as well. And, Cody, I mentioned that when you got a guy that's got a lot of heart in him, a guy that you love because he don't quit, sometimes he fights in a position where there's very little gain. There was no reason for DJ Moore to fight that hard to get 4 more inches when you're backed up that far as it was, being careless with the football. I think that's the one to be upset about. I think that's the one you can teach about, and he can learn and grow from a player. I think the other one's kind of just part of the game.
Yeah, he's a young man in his first year in the NFL. I mean, he's learning to play football on the highest level that there is in the world, So this is what I'll say. That caller from Chicago, I love that man. He made the best point. And this goes back to the philosophy of the football team. Why is it that we only open up the playbook when we have to play from behind? When you open it up earlier and you go up by 7, 14, 21 points, and you're able to continue to put that kind of points on the board, you're not putting so much pressure on your defense. And it really is infuriating to me. And I understand where it's coming from. I feel like later on in the game, we saw a lot of good stuff from our defense and our offense, right? But our offense has the capability to do so much more. But now we have this feeling as if our coaches are preventing them from making those calls earlier to keep us out of situations that we ended up being in later on down the road in the game. So I understand the frustration, and I have no answer for it. No one does. I mean, the only thing that I can say is that we're a run-first football team. Ron Rivera believes you have to set up the run in order to operate the pass. But what I have noticed, the problem with Ron Rivera is that even after he does establish the run, he'll stick to the run like I don't even have an analogy, man. He will not move away from the run when the passing attack is open and ready to be exploited. And I think that's a problem that now everyone is starting to see as a problem.
I don't know. I've heard it. I've heard all this before, Cody. Call me unimpressed when it comes to that need for an overly aggressive. I think that the offense is going to continue to grow and get better. I think that the offense has been sufficient. I think the defense has been sufficient. Again, we haven't put it all together, all in one kind of grouping. And that is, our defense has not been locked down enough to make an error on special teams like that. Our defense has not been locked down enough for the Carolina Panthers to not convert on that 3rd and 1, right? This does go back to something that was with Shula, is that when you play and this is the constant with Ron Rivera, Cody, is that when you play a ball control, defensive-oriented game, And I don't even think we do that so crazy. I think this is that we don't just basically, some people want us just to pass on every down, to go for it on every third down or every fourth down. I think it's good to have a balanced attack. I think if you look the past 2 weeks, have we run the ball to open the game up? Yeah. And we moved the ball and we got into 3rd and 1s twice on the opening drive running the ball. It's working. So I do think, like, let's pause and be cautious a little bit in saying let's not just madden it out. I think, though, the problem, and this is the constant with that type of philosophy, is that it really stinks. Turnovers matter even more when there's less possessions in the game. Essentially, a defensive game and a clock management tries to lessen the possessions of the game. That's what it truly does. In fact, the Washington Redskins did this better than we did in this game when they didn't give us but one touch in the third quarter. So you're trying to lessen that. So what that means is that because there are less drives ultimately, that each drive is therefore more valuable and more important. So when you do come up without anything, it really exacerbates the problem. So I do want to bring this up. We'll go on to the next call. Is that we mentioned the enemy within a lot early in the show, and it was associated with Ron Rivera. But one of the things the Chicago Kid brings up is defense. The enemy within. If we look to the defense, is the enemy within the coordinator, or is it a lack of play and execution by the players, maybe with some age? A lot of heat and a lot of criticism being levied at Eric Washington. I'm not ready to jump on that train yet, but at some point, we're getting run all over. You brought this up in the postgame show. This is unlike the Carolina Panthers to give up so many rushing yards.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's very uncharacteristic of our defense. And you see, I don't know what to attribute that to, because for the most part, it doesn't really matter too much who our offensive coordinator is. There are a certain few things that the Panthers like to do. You know, we're a base 4-3 linebackers. We're a 4-3. We like to run a lot of zone. We don't really man teams up too much. And, you know, it doesn't really matter from coach to coach to coach. We're going to do a lot of the same things that we've done from year to year. I mean, if you want to talk about Steve Wilkes blitzing more, you know, than any other team in the NFL, then, yeah, maybe that's something a little bit different. But I really don't know what it is. Another important thing to remember is that while we have a new defensive coordinator, and yes, all things defense run through him, we also have a brand new defensive line coach. And by the way, I don't even know the names of these guys.
His name's Brady Hoke.
Right.
I saw somebody mention that. Used to be a coach at Michigan, I believe.
I believe so. Now we have a new linebacker coach. We have a new secondary coach. And Ron Rivera.
Well, remember, we also had a scandalous change in our secondary coach.
Yeah. I love that word to fit it, too. Yeah, but no, listen, that's 100% true. And it does make me wonder if it does need some time, even though I've said it before, and I hate that I'm still saying it, to gel, to, to start to flow in the right kind of way that we want it to, with a bunch of different coordinators that haven't been here before. So, I mean, I'm not ready to sell all the stock on Washington.
I'm not either. And here's why, Cody. I think here's why is that nobody in their right mind has looked at the defensive line and say that they have played better than expected. Right? We all know that. No. We all know that if you look at whatever your lowest expectation for the Panthers front four was, we have not met it yet. Right? No. We have played below our potential. But here's the real giveaway here, and this is why I don't think it's Washington. If it is, this says there's a referendum on how needy veterans are. Luke Kuechly has not been memorable.
No, he hasn't.
That's it. I'm not saying, look, is that we got to preface everything. It's like this. Is every time we talk about Cam, we're like, we got to promise you, we are Cam defenders. And you can't, we always have to go ahead and draw this line of sand. Like, oh, we got to remind you that we are Luke supporters. And I am a Luke Kuechly supporter. Good God, he's a damn awesome beast. But we're used to seeing him have like 147 tackles in a season or some mess like that.
But that's what I'm wondering, though. Is it because we've seen him do that so much
that he's just pedestrian by being good?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't recall. I mean, maybe someone else does, and I just don't. But I don't recall any plays that it was on him why the run was successful. I mean, maybe there have been a few of them, but I mean, other than that,
he hasn't played bad. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. It hasn't been memorable. It hasn't been underwhelming. It hasn't been overwhelming. It's just been whelming.
Yeah, whelming. And I'm not. I don't know. I do think that having there's a lot of a dependability thing. So when you're playing football, you have to know that the man to your right and to your left and in front of you and behind you is doing their job. But when you feel that there is, that there's questions around that and you don't know how dependable the guy to your side is, then, yeah, it might put some hesitation on you and you feel you have to do a little bit of everything when in reality, you need to only be focusing on doing one thing. Well, we've had David Mayo next to Luke. It's been Shaq Thompson. And now, finally, he has his Bash brother back, Thomas Davis. I'm hoping that this problem isn't going to be as much of a problem going forward with Luke in particular. I feel that it just takes some time for him to be able to have that level of dependability on the players around him. And I feel that everything has been in flux so much that maybe he just hasn't had that.
Tons of calls to keep going. Follow us on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. Call into the Cat Calls line 252-228-5098. We're pounding through. We're going to keep pounding through these calls.
Hey, guys, Chicago Kid again. I was so pissed off that I didn't add all of my cents. It wasn't just 2 cents. I need a little more.
Here's a nickel.
So,
take a nickel.
I got to get into the fact that this whole Riverboat Ron being a myth, and that's absolutely the truth. Like, there's just a little twinge in the back of my head when we didn't go for that 4th and inches at the very early in the game. I mean, you got Cam Newton, like almost a damn guarantee in a situation like that. We just choose to punt it. Second of all, we see the exact same situation with the Redskins, and they're like 4th and 4, I think.
Yeah.
And they go for it.
That actually hurt more.
And it's just like,
here,
what the hell are we doing? We're getting
I'm pausing the calls. I'm pausing the call right there because of this, Cody. Thomas Davis makes a wonderful play to stop. It was to stop a 3rd and 4, something like that. That was the play on Jordan Reed defending him on the sideline. He turns around, gets his head around, gets a hand on the ball, and it's a great play. They go for it, and they get it. See, that's the thing with the defense is they've made good plays. They even made game-saving plays in many ways. That's what I would call it, game-saving plays. I think game-saving play is when Alex Smith gets the ball on the 33 with the final minute or 2 minutes of game or whatever it was, and we get enough pressure onto him to force – basically it's a sack. He throws the ball away. He intentionally grounds the ball because he was getting sacked right there. That's a game-saving play. It pushes them out of field goal range. It puts our offense in an opportunity to win. Here's what we didn't do, Cody, and the defense probably, I don't think, has done just yet. Maybe in the first game against Dallas, that's game-changing plays. Yeah,
I mean, I feel like there may have been there may have been some opportunities for some that obviously just they weren't made. But, sometimes I wonder if I was a head coach, what would I say to a group of NFL football players, and what would some of my philosophies be? And maybe this is just me, but my mind is, I don't care where we are on the football field. If I ask you to get me a damn yard, 1 yard, I will have my yard. I don't care where we are. I'm not asking. So
example, and especially when it's a short yard, it's an inches yard.
Short yard, and it's not like we're backed up to the red zone, the 30-yard line.
You would just appeal to the dog in them. Appeal to the man. Be like, unless you are the sissies and the cuckolds of those people over there, you're gonna get a damn yard.
Right. I want a yard. I want it right now, and you are the guys that are gonna give it to me. So listen, man. Like,
and then poor Matt Khalil. Thank God Matt Khalil's not on the field peeing himself. And then I'm gonna show you this. Is that, by the way, just Google Matt Khalil's wife, and guess who the fucking joke is on? Me.
Us.
Yes.
She's hot. But yeah, man. Listen, dude. It's a problem. So, for example, earlier you said, not going Madden all the time. I don't think all of us are wanting Madden. What I think the criticism is, we want an even distribution of running the football and passing the football.
This is Khalil's wife, by the way. Go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, an even distribution of running the football, passing the football, and being aggressive on offense. This is our ball, and you're not going to have it. We're not going to let you have it for anything. The last thing that we want to do is punt. I mean, obviously, they're going to have to do that at some point. But, yeah, man, a lot of frustration with our lack of urgency to be dynamic early in the football game.
Matt Khalil, the cook. All right. We got another. Let's finish this call.
Our defense isn't playing well. Like I said before, our playbook, we're not opening it up until our backs are against the wall, and it's just very, very frustrating. Last but not least, I'm just mad. I'm just so
He's
mad.
in his Hyundai,
so mad.
Pounding that Hyundai steering
wheel. I
wheel.
wanted to say, and I can't remember what it was. But yeah, so getting out-coached, getting outplayed there in the first, in bits and pieces of the entire game. So anyway, we just gotta keep going. But we can't be balanced with the high rope. I can't even talk anymore. Keep pounding. Later, guys.
All right,
later,
guys.
Man. I hear you, man. I tonight that man is my spirit animal. Okay, I feel that call. I feel everything that he's saying. I'm on the same page with him.
So he says we get out coached, Cody. I do think going back, enemy within, has been the theme of the show. And I know Ron Rivera's taking a lot of heat. He's taking a lot of heat for not going for it on fourth. He's taking on that fourth down. He's taking a lot of heat for not being a new school coach, a guy that can keep up with the NFL. I think a lot of these things, when we look at those in those little and isolated moments, that is us panicking. I think that is us emotional. It's an emotional response. And I understand it. It's part of what we do. It's part of what we want. I think the media is very emotional too. We see this all the time. I mean, just watch how they freak out, how Cam goes from the worst quarterback to the best quarterback. But going back to Rivera, I would say this, that here's where the criticism from my end comes on Rivera and the concern. Look, I watched that year where he got the moniker Riverboat Ron. He was about to get fired. He's about to get fired. He won't riverboating anything. We had to go for it in those games, or else we were going to be damn toast. So much toast that his ass won't going to have no job, right? But here's where the criticism for me about the coaching staff is I had Washington circled on the schedule. I had the Giants circled. These are the games we win, so we can put ourselves in a position where we got to go on the road to Philly, we got to go on the road to Baltimore, where you can split that road trip and feel good, right? Is that you got to win the games that you're supposed to win, and you got to win a couple that you're not supposed to win. I think here, Ron Rivera, I wanted to go look up the stats, Cody. We have historically been pretty terrible off the bye. We have not been especially great in games this season that we should have won. And I think the coaching part that gets to me is we're just not as sharp as I hope we would have been to start the season and 5 weeks into the season.
Yeah, we're not as sharp. We're not as tough, I feel. The Panthers traditionally have been a tough football team. You know, we're smash mouth football. We'll run it down your throat. You know, we'll hit you hard on defense. I feel like all of that has just been missing, and I don't know what it is. You know, there's a lot of different theories as to why that is. But listen, man, you know, you're saying, well, okay, it's time to win. You know, now we're in October. You know, now we move on. We get to the tougher part of our schedule. But what I'll say is, man, 1 or 2 games is the difference between a home field advantage moving through the playoffs. And that would be
and 1 and 2 games is the difference of making the playoffs, too, at the same time. It's even worse.
Playoffs. I mean, and listen, you know, it seems like right now the Saints are the class of the division, just being honest, and what they're able to do on offense. Their defense is starting to gel also. But if we're going to be a contender, these problems have to disappear.
Let me put it this way, Cody, is that if Ron Rivera can come out and say that it's hard to win football games when you give up 7 points off a turnover right in the beginning, then we can also say it's hard to make the playoffs when you don't beat teams you should have.
Right, when you don't beat teams you should have. And when you left plays on the table because you weren't angry enough to go for them and impose your will on the other team. And that's why Panther fans are so upset. Because listen, Tony, let me ask you this. Right now, do you feel Washington is a better football team than the Carolina Panthers?
Oh, no, not even close.
Not even close, but they won. They sure did beat us, and it wasn't even by a lot. But they won, and a lot of fans feel the same way, that there were things that we chose not to do that would have put us in a position to win the football game, and that's on our coaches.
All right, next call.
C3 Podcast, this is Ryan from San Diego.
What's up,
Ryan? On a quick little emotional rant, but I do want to stick up for some players that are getting called out on. Name being James Bradbury. You know, over the course of 5 games, considering the receivers that, you know, this secondary has played against, Bradbury's only allowed 1 touchdown in 5 games. And that 1 touchdown came against Odell Beckham, and he was literally inches away from knocking that ball away. Is James Bradbury, you know, the best thing going for the Carolina Panthers? He's probably not. But you know what? He's definitely done enough to keep his starting job opposite of Dante Jackson. Easily. And you know, you guys are complaining about James Bradbury now, but hey, we could have, I don't know, Captain Munderland on the outside. I'm pretty sure you guys would be super happy about that. But since Brady Hoke has taken over the defensive line, our defensive line has been absolute trash. And also, I noticed too that Adrian Peterson.
I'm happy you mentioned Brady Hoke.
Side freaking Julius Peppers aside. Love Julius Peppers. He's a legend. And he will always be a legend, but it's probably about that time that we start, or at least maybe look to make a trade or something to kind of, you know, get him off the field in certain situations. I know he's playing a certain amount of snaps, but he is not what he used to be. He's a good situational passer, and I think last year, even though he had 11 sacks, he was graded as the worst pass rusher when it came to pressuring the quarterback last year. And like I said, Eric Washington, I don't think is the best defensive coordinator that we have. Tony, I get that you love the guy, but I mean, Luke Kuechly is
right.
even off his game a little bit, and we're talking probably the best linebacker in football. Luke Kuechly's off his game a little bit. And the reason Luke Kuechly is off his game a little bit is because the defensive line isn't doing what they normally do. And when the defensive line isn't doing what they're normally doing, the whole back end of the defense suffers for it.
Well, that's the truth.
Period. And considering how bad our defensive line is playing, our secondary actually is still generating turnovers somehow and doing okay as far as covering receivers and keeping the touchdowns to a minimum. I'm not going to hold Cam Newton responsible for anything in that last game. If anything, Cam Newton through his 5 games has shown that he is capable of playing the quarterback position in the pocket. And he missed that throw at Christian McCaffrey. Let me remind you, some of the people that think Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback who have played the game, our 15-1 season, when I think they were on the 5-yard line.
Let me see if this next call is a finish.
And back to Aaron Rodgers. Cam Newton missed throws. All quarterbacks miss throws. Aaron Rodgers, the 2015 season, the Super Bowl, when we went to the Super Bowl, Aaron Rodgers was coming back to possibly tie the game up inside the 10-yard line. And the pressure got to him. Mari Addison pushed the offensive lineman in his way, and Aaron Rodgers missed a wide-open Tevin Cobb to the flat, which would have been an easy touchdown to bring the score within, I think, would have tied the game, or they would still have to go for a 2-point conversion. The point is, no matter what kind of caliber quarterback you are, you still miss throws from time to time, even in big-time situations. All you got to do is just go through the list of top 10 quarterbacks, and you will see all the quarterbacks that miss game-winning throws. So I don't hold Cam Newton responsible for any of this, considering that he was the only person on the team that had any type of momentum going forward in this game. 68% of his passes, a 93 quarterback rating, and he made it work and still gave us a chance to win this game. Otherwise, we'd be in complete and utter trouble. I do blame the decisions and everything else on the coaching staff. I do believe they are kind of old and outdated and conservative. Don't be surprised, man, if Norv Turner gets fired, Ron Rivera gets fired, and we see, I don't know, offensive coordinator like Todd Haley come in. Somebody new and inventive that can make things happen for this offense. We already know we had a good quarterback, a franchise quarterback in Cam Newton, so we just need a little life injected into this offense at times. Same with the defense. Keep pounding, love the show. Talk to you guys later. What
a call!
Awesome, man. I'm gonna jump forward on this one, Tony, if you don't mind.
Please.
Okay, so 2 things. One unrelated. YouTube down is trending on Twitter. So of course, right as our show is about to go live, YouTube decides to take a giant shit. But whatever, man. You roll with the punches. Also, he brings up David Tepper. And I think that is something that we need to touch on, at least for a moment. Because David Tepper has been on record saying he is an analytics man. And let's pose a theory that we don't make the playoffs. And, we have this offense that is running more than any other team in the NFL. And everything that Ron believes in goes against all the analytics that are making all these other teams successful. I don't think it's out of the level of reason that Ron Rivera and Marty Herney might not have the safest job if they don't have a year that warrants them to come back.
Let me ask you this while you're on that. Who are the teams that prove that that the Panthers have a dated system of looking at things?
Okay, so you want me to name off some teams?
Well, I'm just saying this, is that if we look at the division leaders around the league, New England, okay, Tom Brady, right? I mean, I think it's a hard thing to – first of all, Tom Brady, 15 years ago, 10 years ago – well, I guess 10 years on the date he was becoming the Tom Brady he is today. So, I mean, that's kind of an outlier, I think, having the greatest quarterback in all of history saying we can throw the ball 45, 50 times or something, right? Cincinnati Bengals, they're leading their division. They're 4-2. Tennessee Titans are leading their division. They're 3-3, and they stink.
There's a three-way tie in that division.
That's the problem. Here, yeah, you're right. There is a three-way tie. You know what the problem is? We're just in the wrong division. Kansas City. All right, so I'd say Kansas City might be a challenge. Yeah. Might be one of the challenges to that. Really, it is maybe the challenge, but also can't argue that they got a especially explosive group of offensive players there. Right, the Washington Redskins are leading their division. The Chicago Bears are leading their division. The New Orleans Saints, the Los Angeles Rams. I think the Rams and the Chiefs are the only teams that pans out, actually, in reality.
I disagree with you, man. I think there's at least 6 or 7 teams.
Who are they?
Okay, so one, we're just talking offense. So when I mention the Falcons right now, I'm not saying they're a better team. Their defense is god-awful. And Devontae Freeman just went to the IR.
Okay, but here, let me give you this, though, is that they're not unrelated, though. You don't get to play offense to offense. Is that at the same time, if you have an offense that can outscore everybody, like this modern offense, then who cares if your defense stinks?
Well, but this is what it's not saying that the defense matters less, but it's saying that, okay, for example, we always run the football on first down, or at least 90% of the time. It's noticeable. There are teams, I think, you asked me for some teams. Here are the ones that, in my mind, are comfortable throwing the football on first and second down. Okay? I think the Patriots. I think the Chiefs. I think the Rams. I think the Saints. I think the Falcons. I think the Bears. I think Philadelphia. I think Washington, even though I still think we're better. I think that's true for them as well. There are teams out there that they're moving towards this. We are going to be able to throw the ball whenever we want. And then once we do that, that is going to allow us to be able to run the ball whenever we see the opportunity to do so. So that's more what I'm saying. I'm not saying we have to pass all the time, that we have to put up record Madden numbers. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we have to be more liberal in wanting to push the ball down the field. Plays that Cam Newton has proven able to do.
I'm unimpressed by this. I've heard, sorry, not by you, Cody. Don't take it personally.
No.
I've heard a lot of people saying this, and here's the way I'm unimpressed about it, is I think we got to throw out a couple of outliers. Look, it's bad. Aaron Rodgers can barely make his team that good when he's the greatest, like one of the greatest. I think this is that I don't think we get to count New Orleans in this conversation because they got Drew Brees, who is arguably the second greatest quarterback of all time. Right, is that, and they've always been an offensive team, and it hasn't always worked out for them. I'm trying to think back. It just feels like this. Out of all the Super Bowl winners I've seen in the past 10 years, if you throw out the Tom Brady teams, and that's it. Like, nobody has, I just don't know. I just feel like this is that we just want a team that scores 45. I don't know if it really helps you win the Super Bowl.
But don't we have Cam Newton, though? You say, let's throw out Drew Brees and Tom Brady. They're incredible. You know, and a lot of people don't think
he's not a 45 passer guy. He's just not that type. I think it would be We always say we're like
80%
winning team when he runs for whatever. He carries the ball 5 times or something like that.
Right, and yeah, no one's denying that. But at the same time, if we're not letting Cam Newton show off the entire arsenal, I disagree. I mean, I'm not saying that Cam has to put up 45 points every Sunday, but I do believe that we are capable of being a much more dynamic offense every single game. And our play calling is not allowing us to do so.
The other point of the there was I do want to talk about the Peppers thing real quick.
Yeah.
Well, first I defend Peppers like I defend Cam Newton. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of thing. I think it's a lot that look. We didn't want Peppers to play this much. I told you on this show about 4 weeks ago, warning sign when Ron Rivera said we need Peppers, we want Peppers on more snaps.
Yeah.
I said that because here's the thing, is that, yeah, you like having Peppers on the field, but you never say you want to play the 38, 39-year-old on more snaps. You want to say you want to have them fresh for when you need them. I think Peppers has been one of the more effective. He's been around the quarterback. So I think this is that maybe the miscalculation here is that you didn't have a guy. So we thought that we were going to have Charles Johnson last year, I guess, that was going to be able to kind of ease some of that pressure off of. We didn't want Peppers to be the guy. We didn't want him to be a 3-down player last year. And I don't think we should want him to be a 3-down player this year. The problem is we need him to be one.
Yeah, we need him to be one, but the problem is we are relying on a 38-year-old Julius Peppers.
Yep.
And, not everybody is.
Failure on Cole. Look, this goes back. Coney Ealy, bust. This is the Coney Ealy bust. This is the Deshaun Hall bust that is catching up with us. Is that we haven't been able to nail a defensive end in the draft. They're hard to do.
They really are hard to do. But it sucks because it feels like now it's showing its head at a moment in time where we can't do anything about it.
It sucks for next year, Cody, to be honest. Because
why do you say that?
Because I feel like we might be able to get by with Peppers this year. Like, I mean, I think this is that I think we could get by. Like, if some of the other guys pick it up and start getting a little bit, just producing in the numbers a little bit more, all of a sudden you're not looking at Peppers as a weakness this year. But defensive ends take time. It's not like we're hoping for a top 5 pick next year, where we're going to have the number 1 where we're going to get a Jadeveon Clowney. You're talking about picking in the 20s on the year we want to be in there, maybe 32, right? But, I mean, we're not going to have a top 5 pick. And how often do you land a defensive end that is just a blowout start from day one guy when they're not picked in the top 10?
I mean, it's something to look at. I do know that there are a lot of defensive players, specifically defensive linemen, that are coming out in the draft this next year. But yeah, man, it all just depends. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't think of a guy that was drafted in the later rounds at the all right, how about Greg Hardy? I think it was drafted in the 6th round.
Yeah, we're supposed to be a 1st-round pick the year before, though.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you never know.
I don't know if you heard this, Cody. He had character issues that pushed him down the list.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay. Oh, well, hopefully he would never, throw a woman on a bed of firearms or something, because that'd be dumb.
Wow, looking like the guy from Predator 2 just stuck his face in a barrel of cocaine.
Yeah, man. And I said this before. We only have one more year of Mario Addison, and then we have to pay him even more money.
No, and you don't. As Addison's going to be toast by that point. You got the best Addison right here.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a problem right now. But then what free agents do you sign?
Good God, I don't even want to think about it. It's a lot asked to be on Peppers. We wanted him last year. Just a reminder, last year we wanted him to be a third down only, or like second and long, passing situations. It's a lot asked. Oh, Jeff Hodge, Butler didn't pan out either. Kudos to the staff, and maybe kudos to Butler. You've been seeing a nice amount of playing time from Butler in this last game. Now, I know we haven't been going crazy about it. He was the guy that got pressure that forced Alex Smith out of the pocket. He did get that face mask penalty. I don't think it should have been. I don't know if they have the two. Don't they have 2 grades of it? The personal foul, 15, and a 5-yard. I think that should have been a 5. It was such incidental face mask
the
content.
hands to the face.
Yeah, whatever. So hopefully Butler gets on track. But you're right, it's just not easy. That's my point. It's not easy to get a free agent and a free agent defensive end who isn't past his prime over the hill. Ask the damn Tampa Bay Bucks about that. And then second, it's hard to draft one and get them to produce in their first year. Appreciate the call. We're going to keep going with these calls. The number's 252-228-5098.
Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
It's that G.
This is G. Cavassier. Jacksonville, North Carolina finest. Okay. We all seen the game. Yes, that game, I was pissed off after that game.
Pissed.
Now, I'm going to watch my language because I just got done listening to you guys' post game, and I'm not trying to cuss because I know, kids
we
listen
angry.
to this. But here's a couple of my little problems with that game. Okay,
Yeah,
within the first half, the Redskins scored 17 points. The Panthers, we only scored 6. It's crazy. That to me is just crazy with the receivers that we have.
Yeah.
And all the talent we have on the team. That's crazy. But this will blow your minds if you haven't realized this. In the second half, we put up 11 points. And the Redskins only had 6 points within the second half. Crazy, right? It just doesn't really make any sense to me. Now, I wanted to blame the defense for the loss of this game. But if you look at the second half, we held the Redskins only to 2 field goals, 6 points. So once the second half came up, they started, tightening down on the bolts, if you will, Now, my problem is Ron Rivera. And I agree with what Cody said during the post-game show, time management. That was one of the worst time managements I have seen in a while. And playing conservative is not going to win us a Super Bowl. Because the last coach we had that played really conservative, y'all remember him, John Fox. They used to call it Foxball. Y'all remember that.
Yeah.
You play not to lose. That is not going to win us a championship.
And I think Philadelphia is the most recent
trophy is not
memory of
Charlotte,
why that
Carolina
is true.
At all.
You don't play to lose.
You play conservative all the damn times. And another thing that I'm not trying to be negative or to break people's hearts, but I noticed nobody spoke about it, but we have to give respect to Thomas Davis because he just lost his father. And I know that was hard on him.
True.
I just lost a family member this year. My grandmother passed away in May. God bless her soul. She wasn't a football fan like that, but God bless her soul.
Yeah.
But to me,
yeah, man,
Thomas Davis played lights out this game.
He did.
Really did.
I agree.
And I know it was hard on him to do that, losing his father and everything, but I believe that we will bounce back, and I do see us beating Philadelphia. I really do, because last year we had that game. But it was
we better be pissed about last year. That's a good point. Is that you were going to talk about this? Ron Rivera mentioned in his press conference, Cody, is that the last 2 weeks they've been playing teams that have coming off of shellackins, ass whoopings.
Yep.
We got our ass whooped by Philadelphia last year, and I know that people are going to say, and G was probably saying that we should have won that game. There's some things going on, or we could have won that game, and that's true. It wasn't out of our control. but they punched us in our face. Going back to your comment earlier, Cody, about this, go get the damn yard.
Yeah.
Nut up and go get the yard. You know what I'm saying? Nut up and go punch Philadelphia back in the face. But I promise you one person that is not going to get his ass punched in the face, who's always punching, and that's Fletcher Cox. God, that mug is a scary man on the football field. God bless whoever's playing right. God bless Trey Turner. Got worked last year.
Yeah.
Trey Turner, you better damn take a damn. If I was Trey Turner, I'd take a damn like a erectile dysfunction pill before I went up in there, and I'm being like, I'm off. You know what? G, you said you didn't want to use the curse words. Maybe I should. And I'll be like, Fletcher, I got a big heart, and I'm going to you up. That's how I'm trying to be up against there. All right, let's keep pounding for. Go ahead.
Fletcher would be like, does this dude have a heart on?
Yes. Get away. Get away. Stay away. Stay away.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's G. Cavassier again. I got cut off. I think I was talking too long. But anyway, like I was saying.
But anyway.
When we played Philadelphia
you never talk too long, G. We love you, brother.
It was a bonehead mistake by Cam Newton, and they won. And they won the Super Bowl. You know, congratulations to them. We have to tighten up on the defense.
True.
That's something we have to do. I said it once, I say it again. We need a pass rush. We really, really need a pass rush. We have to get
it needs to be productive,
we
too.
Have to.
That's the thing. We need a productive pass
rush. To the post game, I noticed one caller called in and said C.J. Anderson was nowhere to be found.
Zero.
And I said it months ago. I said he could be our Stephen Davis of the past. When Stephen Davis and Deshaun Foster was doing what they was doing in 2003 when we went to the Super Bowl, switch them dudes up. We know that C.J. Anderson really can't catch all that good, you know, look at the Atlanta game, you know what I'm saying? But you can use him to block, because he's a husky dude or whatever. But anyway, I'm not.
He's one of the best. He's one of the best pass.
Just stand by the team.
Blockers, running backs in the league.
Because it's Carolina Panthers, man. North and South, the Carolinas, man. And we will clinch the NFC South this year. So y'all give me your opinions on what I said, and always remember, keep pounding.
All right, first call, Cody, that brings up C.J. Anderson. Look, I've kind of been I actually have been trying to hesitate being too critical of the coaching staff because, look, we're 3-2. I think that, I've just kind of learned to not let the sky fall if we look like we have things we can build upon. Now,
right.
Is that here are things I think we can build upon, is that the offensive line's playing way better than we ever expected they'd be playing. What can we build on? The secondary is playing far better than probably they should be. What can we build on? There are some young guys in there that have showed some promise, and we got Cam Newton. You can build on those things. Going back to this pass rush thing, we need a productive pass rush. That's the case. Negatives being obviously that we haven't gotten the play out of our linebackers that we had hoped. Look, Shaq Thompson has been underwhelming, or whelming. Luke Kuechly, whelming at the very best. Both of those guys. But to me, going back to this now, one question we have here is that I understand getting play. Like McCaffrey's awesome. You want to have him on the field. But I asked you earlier in the show, was there a drive that stuck out to you and the fans that was problematic? The one for me, Cody, was the one we were backed up in our own end zone. Remember, we ended up taking a delay of game, and I was like, why you take a delay of game in the first half when you got 3 timeouts and this? And then they were like, oh, because you only really back up an inch. Made sense there. My point is this: we run the ball 3 times out of the backfield, or we run the ball 2 times out of the backfield. 1 time we throw the ball. All 3 of those plays, Christian McCaffrey's out there. I just felt like, hey, you're in your own end zone. This is the one time. Put the damn wrecking ball in there. That was when a couple situational plays for me that, I don't need CJ to be playing as much as maybe some people want him to do because I don't think it's feasible. But to me, Jesus, I heard this. I heard that CJ was listed in the game book as did not participate.
Yeah, did not participate.
Is
And
that true?
I mean, yeah, he played like maybe a snap or
He played
something.
the first snap. It was like in the first series, and then you never saw him again.
Yeah, and why? Why? This is what I'm saying. This is why everyone is so pissed off. We have players that were brought in specifically to help us in specific scenarios that we were not good in last year.
This is where I'll give it to you. I mean, I can't defend this.
Yeah, we have them now, and we don't use them. This is what G is talking about when he's talking about we don't need John Fox and playing not to lose. Let's put the ball down their throat, man. And what makes also myself angry and a bunch of other people is that we know we're a better football team than this. We have the personnel, the manpower to do this. So why not do it? Your answer is as good as mine. I mean, no one knows. It really is. I mean, especially if you're a Panther fan, you want to see this team go all the way and do well. And then to see this happen, it's like, well, what's going on in the locker room that we don't know about? If not, then this is absolutely, it's infuriating, man.
Pass rush has got to get home. Just got to be more productive. But
It
you're
has
right.
to.
It's not only about it not being productive. It hasn't been intimidating. I don't feel
Nope.
like this is that like we're coming after you. 2013 felt like that. It's like these boys going to eat on every play. 2015, just a little bit more, a little bit. But, man, I'm telling you, we have not felt like we're going to eat on every play. It's time to be there.
Absolutely.
Good evening, fellas. This is Jeremy Clancy calling in from Newport, North Carolina. Just
What's
wanted
up,
to
Jeremy?
on the game, this past game. I called right after the game, and I'm glad y'all didn't post that because I was very angry and inebriated and probably didn't sound too good. But anyway, I wanted
That
to
was
make
the
a
guy
comment
that said
about
that we
this year
suck
so
deep.
far. It kind of
No, I'm
reminded
just
me of
kidding. I don't know.
2015. A lot of those games, we were in it, even though we were playing like ass, we pulled them out. That's what it seems like these last 2 weeks have been. Just this week we played like ass. We had a chance, we just didn't pull it out. Just want to get y'all's thoughts on these slow starts. What do you think we got to do to play in the first half like we seem to turn it on in the second half? Anyway, love your show. Keep going. Keep pounding.
Man, appreciate it. Thank you so much for the call. Slow starts. I think this goes back to me. One of my issues with the Ron Rivera team, and this is where I'm ready to have the real conversation about is there a ceiling for a Ron Rivera, right, as a coach? And that's when you really start talking about replacing a coach, is that if they can't meet, if the ceiling is the problem, because the floor has been all right. You know what I mean? We've been competitive. We've been in a tough division. But here, we haven't been sharp to start. I was hoping this year our offense would look sharper than it had in the past. It didn't in the first game. It started to get together. I just don't know. I'm still wondering why the team isn't sharpened more, because I feel like Ron Rivera should be getting better. And if anything, I think we see that we just keep saying, hey, Ron Rivera's good characteristics, Cody, are good enough for us to stick with. But I don't feel like we've been like, man, this dude is just getting better and better, the team getting better. It just is whelming.
And, you know, it's like Ron Rivera is that curmudgeon old man that goes to the same restaurant every Friday night, orders the same meal, takes the same route back home. There's not a lot of excitement here. I really don't know what else to say, man. It's kind of like a broken record at this point. I kind of feel like I've already said all there is to say about the man. Ron Rivera has shown the tendency, but one, we know he doesn't know how to manage the clock. That's something he's not able to do. He is very conservative in what he wants to do on football, and he will play to protect a lead rather than to shove the ball down their throat. And it's infuriating, and I don't know how it changes unless he feels his job is on the line and then the vaunted Riverboat Ron might rear his head once more. But until then, it's hard to say that it will.
Well, you know what the thing, if anything, is that two things that I've always said about Ron. One thing I've always said about Ron, one that's creeped in my vocabulary in the last 2 years. One, Ron Rivera holds a locker room and a team beyond when we expect them to. You've looked at a couple of these teams that have not even been great, and they've played. I'm thinking 2014. We stunk. We had Byron Bell, but we finished strong. The years that we've been bad, we finished with some integrity, with some fortitude, with some manhood. What I would say, that kind of man up, nut up attitude. And I think that's a testament to Ron Rivera keeping these guys from being demoralized. On the other hand, where was I going with this? Oh, this is what it was. On the other hand, Ron Rivera, after the 2015 success, I think started to believe in himself a little bit more than we had been accustomed to. He started calling players out, saying they were the... I felt like the cool thing, the reason he was able to hold the locker room so much is that this is on us. This is on the coaches. We're going to get this fixed. Even when it was clear it wasn't, he was going down with the ship and taking all of it. Now, I don't think he has been this way this year, where he's been calling out guys. But in 2016 and 2017, he was more like that. So what I just continue to think is, as you guys say, we need Ron Rivera to feel the pressure, the heat, the hot seat. It's true. He is a better coach. But I think he starts to self-reflect more in those moments. And in these moments, he's deflecting based on what other guys are doing.
Yeah. Do you remember 2000? When was it? Yeah, it was. I think it was at 2014, and the season hadn't gone well. And it was right at the end of the season. He turned it on. And that's when Riverboat Ron was born. And we thought that we had this head coach that would go for it on fourth.
No, we never thought that. If you go back to it, you didn't think that then either. You know what you just did is you realized our backs were against the wall.
Then maybe I was young and naive then. But I don't know, though. I do think that, at some point, if you continue to repeat the same mistakes over and over, that's on you. It's 100% on you. And if you're not able to make the right changes that are necessary, then whatever comes of it, that's your fault. So if Ron Rivera, and listen, I understand. We're 3-2 right now. We're kind of talking like we're like 0-5. Yeah, and I understand that, but I think where this criticism comes from is that knowing the defenses that we have to play. By the way, after Philly, we played Baltimore, and they hit Mariota 11 times.
Dude, the Tennessee Titans didn't score a point.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying right now is that even though this team is not in the worst possible situation that we've ever been in, and there is cause to be optimistic, man, if we continue to see the same problems that we have seen thus far against inferior teams like the Giants and Washington, it's about to be tough sledding.
True, you got to win. That's why we've been saying you got to win the ones that are circled. Next call.
Yep.
Hey, guys, it's John up near Philly.
What's up, John?
Fan. Thank you for what you do. Hey, listen, we are excited about the Panthers coming to town next week. We are going to eat us some Eagles. That's all I got to say. All right, so a couple of things on my mind that I just listened to the post-game show, and a couple of things are on my mind. One is Eric Reed, the other is Luke Kuechly, and the third is my buddy Ron Rivera. So I'm hearing a lot of people talking about Eric Reed's not doing us any good. He was supposed to be this superstar, blah, blah, blah. I think that, yes, we have seen him make 2, maybe 3 mistakes in 2 games. First time back in football for a while. First time in the system. I'll give him a little bit of a break. But 2 or 3 mistakes over a course of, what is that, 90 plays? I don't know. Then that's not so bad, actually. But what I do see on the positive side is you see Mike Adams coming out. All of a sudden, Mike Adams is this beast. Interceptions, sacks, pressuring the quarterback, hard tackles. Before, he was just looked ineffective. What's different? No Colin Jones, add Eric Reed. Mike can do his job. That's the name of football. Do your job, Belichick, right? Mike can now do his job because he's not worried about the other guy not doing his. So I think that's what we're seeing, the benefit from Eric Reed, and we're going to see more of that. We're going to see more from him personally and individually later. Second on Luke, everybody's talking about how he's lost a step, how he doesn't look good, how he's not right. And I've been thinking the same thing. But you know what? I paid a lot of attention to the last game. I watched the line, O-line and D-line. It's gap integrity, gentlemen. Gap integrity.
Sir.
Shaq Thompson gets pushed out of the way, doesn't cover his gap. I've watched that happen over and over and over again. The D-line's getting pushed out of their gap. Nobody's filling it up. That's why our run defense sucks, and that's why we look slow and old. I think Eric Washington, with his mean scowl, is going to fix that. He's not going to stand for poor gap integrity.
He likes the scowl.
All right. On the offensive side, all I got to say is, Ron Rivera, you've got to go for that 4th and 1 in the first quarter. You got Cam freaking Newton. Just lean over with the ball. You got the first down. I live outside of Philly now, and all I can say is everybody up here, if it was an Eagles coach, would be calling for his head. We'd have a dumpster fire of coaches. They'd be wanting them all burned. Fire them all. And I have been a Ron supporter for years, ever since he came here. I'm starting to go down the other path right now.
It's hard. It's hard. I'm trying not to jump ship.
He's the one consistency.
It's hard, Cody.
It is, but you see what I mean? That's like a lot of Panther fans, and I feel it now more than ever, that there is this backlash against Ron Rivera that hasn't been there before. And traditionally, I haven't been very hard on Ron Rivera. I know I've only been on the show this year, but for most of my time as a Panther fan, I've been very supportive of Ron Rivera. I felt that he was one of the better coaches in the NFL. But now there are these problems that are so glaring that don't go away, that are there year after year. Everyone's like, okay, listen, don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining, okay? Like, we see that something's going on here that isn't quite gelling.
It comes back to this, is that this is where you start to run into a coach with Ron Rivera that I mentioned, I think, in the last call. And that is, Ron Rivera's floor is obviously pretty high. The question is his ceiling one that he can break through? Or is the ceiling too low for him?
Or is the ceiling the roof?
The roof.
Oh, yeah, the roof is the ceiling.
The roof is the ceiling.
Hey, it's John in Philly again. Damn, I talked too long.
No, you didn't.
All right, John.
To say,
Dude,
there is still time to get a
tremendous
ticket.
call, by the way.
Come out with a riot, tailgate, and party with us Saturday night, Sunday, and come yell at the game. We're going to need every Panthers fan we can with these obnoxious and slightly more and
aggressive,
less ignorant Eagles fans.
They're aggressive. They're aggressive. I ain't gonna lie. There's something, there's been a lot of jokes made by even players about Carolina Panther fans and the home environment of Bank of America. Those jokes, I don't feel like I've ever heard them about Philadelphia fans. I am honestly intimidated to go to a Philadelphia stadium. I think if I rank the two stadiums I'd be most concerned about for my personal safety would be San Francisco and Philadelphia. They threw batteries at
Oakland? Yeah, How about Oakland? That would jump your ass.
Yeah, that's one's right up there. But Oakland, San Francisco, them mugs about right across the street from each other, right?
Yeah.
But I agree with you. Is that those three? I'm starting to go down. But Philly is you threw down batteries at Santa Claus. You threw batteries at Santa Claus. Just remember that. Yeah, you go there. Panther fans, stay together. Stay together. Travel in a pack. Don't be caught alone. That's when those shit eaters, they're really shit eaters. I've seen Philadelphia fans eat shit. Literally. What the hell? Stay away from them. Typhoid, dysentery, Philadelphia Eagles if that's a disease, itis, batteries to the face, stay away.
What up, C3, Panthers Nation? It's your boy J-Dub.
J-Dub.
There's so much I could go on about, kind of like last week, but I won't hit you with all that. I'm going to say one major thing. This team used to have an identity. I mean, when you had Carolina on your schedule, whether it was going to Carolina or them coming to your house, you knew you were going to have to deal with stopping the run and the tenacious defense that, will come at you in every single way. Now, I just see it. Well, there's a team that has a lot of weapons. Yeah, we have a lot of weapons, but we're not playing as a team. And we are not.
I think that's right. We haven't put it all together.
All new coordinators this year, but it's been 5 weeks. You got to start showing me something. Like, the defense just ain't there, and it makes no sense to me. I mean, what did Panther Nation do like a couple weeks ago? We're just crying, begging, if we only had a safety, if we only had a safety. Well, it's been 2 weeks with the safety, and I just don't see much change. And maybe he's just getting back into it or whatever. It's only 2 games, but, I mean, eventually I got to start seeing some improvement on the offense. Like, got so many weapons, and everyone wants to talk about snap count. Why doesn't this guy get more? Why doesn't this guy get more? Well, then Moore gets more, and obviously ain't ready because they never used him in the beginning of the season. You can't give a guy like 5 total touches and expect him to get 5 in a game and be okay with it. Like, I don't get where we're going. It just seems like the 7-8-1 year a lot to me. It's eerily similar. Like, we have a great team, but it's just not all together. And we'll be in every game. We won't get blown out. Well, we're going to lay eggs like this last one. Like, we didn't get blown out or anything, but that's a game we should have won. I mean, in the Giants one, that's a game we should have blew them out. Like, I'm sick of seeing this. We're underperforming.
And the Eagles just beat that ass.
Even only the Cowboys won. We underperformed in that game, in my opinion. People are like, we ran the Bengals. That was a great win. Great win, yes. But did we roll them, boys? I honestly don't think so.
No, it came down to the end.
Smash mouth, back and forth game, and yes, great win. But we didn't get. I mean, I've been under.
Here it comes. Underwhelmed.
I was underperformed. And I've been
dang it!
Down on like every single fucking game. Sorry, excuse my language. I just had though. Like every single game, I've been somewhat disappointed. I mean, trust me, a couple wins. I'm glad we won. Glad we won. But we haven't won anything on the road. We're only good at home. And I mean, when I say good at home, I'm using that very loosely. I need to start seeing improvement week to week, or this is gonna be one of those seasons we want to forget. And that's just my opinion. I love you guys, and keep doing what you're doing. Keep pounding.
Thanks, J-Dub. You're the best.
Love you, J-Dub.
Homeboy says it right, and this is what I've been trying to say. We haven't put it all together. He put it better. We haven't been playing as a team yet. And when we coalesce, we got an opportunity. Good news, J-Dub. This is where 2014 and 2018 have nothing in common. This offensive line is playing well. That means if this offensive line, if we survived all that bull crap and really we purged the weakness from our system, we purged those guys, and we're better with Chris Clark, we're better with this offensive line with the Van Roten dude and all of this. This is good news. We can build. That's something we can build off of. I promise you that. That is something we can build off of. Where were we? I think that was J-Dub. Let's keep going.
Right, it's AJ again. First time caller last week, calling again. Just a couple quick thoughts, really. I know our defense kind of let us down this game, really, in the second half, not getting the Redskins off the field. I mean, they just kept letting them get first downs, offsides, penalty after penalty. I really think that hurt us more than anything else in the game. I know DJ, he had his 2 fumbles early, but you're going to respect that. I mean, expect that from a rookie. He's going to learn, cover up. He's just going to learn from it. So it's fine. I never really felt out of the game in the first half. Felt like we still had a chance because honestly, no one's really stopped us as far as our offense goes. Nobody stopped us. When you look at all the games, the 2 losses we have, you know, we beat ourselves on offense. Dallas could have had more points, fumbled the ball in the red zone, turnover. I mean, we really beat ourselves. So I think our offense is fine. And also, one little thought is, how much is KK missing Star? Because Star did a lot of dirty work, and I think he really helped KK out a lot for that inside penetration that we're missing that badly. And I still think our secondary can clean up just a little bit of play, and we'll be all right, though. No reason to have our head down. All right, fellas, keep pounding.
All right, I want. Here's the research for the Panther fans out there, listen to the show, and just fans in general. Panthers Africa. I know that she's the stats lady out there. We've been arguing nonstop about Dontari Poe, whether or not he has produced enough. You know, it's kind of just again whelming. My question is this: as I look at a couple of these runs, I remember just the big runs that are going to really screw with the numbers. I feel like a lot of those have been on corners and safeties on the outside. I remember one 2 weeks ago where Dante Jackson bit a little bit inside. Do you remember where he catches up with the guy? That was where he strained his hamstring a little bit in that game. That might have been 3 weeks ago. I'm trying to think. We'll have to go back and look at the tape as how many of these runs are gumming up the gut. Because is that if the gap integrity, if these problems are, if they are manifesting in the Poe area, that's one thing. I think it's just unfortunate. I think we've just been disappointed with all these guys because the numbers aren't there.
Yeah, the numbers aren't there, and you know what? It's hard to say how much does he miss Star, because you know there's a tandem. It's like I said earlier, you have to depend on the man next to you, and I don't know. I mean, is it just that? You know, maybe Dontari Poe isn't doing the work that Star did, so that K1 Short isn't quite, you know, he doesn't feel comfortable as much.
Or he's getting double teamed more.
Yeah, being double teamed more. Also, I looked something up, and I wanted to bring up a stat that's I feel is very sad. The Panthers have not won an away game since November 26th of last year.
Jeez.
against the New York Jets.
Oh, throw that stat in the trash, brother.
It's true, man. The previous caller said that it was J-Dub that we're winning at home, but even still, it's only barely. We haven't won on the road, and that's a problem, man. So that makes this Philadelphia matchup even more important than it was otherwise. Not only are they the defending Super Bowl champs, but we need to be able to win away from Bank of America Stadium, and that would be a huge statement if we were able to do so.
Football Outsiders has Carolina's defensive line ranked number 10. In run block. Let me see if I can do this. Power rank, adjusted lines. I don't know what the right thing to look at them. If we just look at team ranking, number 10. So interesting. I think to go back to this, Joey brought in a look. Bobby Blue comes in yelling, "Fire Eric Washington." Joey asked this. He said, "Does this have anything to do with Eric Washington's age?" You know, I mean, we go back, we heard that Julius Peppers came back partially because of Eric Washington. I don't feel like we have I don't know. That's a good question. Like, is he too young to motivate veterans? But I feel like the guys we got are so level-headed. I feel like Addison's lunch pail guy. KK Short's the guy that gives out Bibles for his charity. Peppers is old enough that he don't ever... Look, he barely does charity. He like, man, Peppers is the funniest dude. Man, when that Florence stuff came out and he's like, I'm going to go help this school, they're like, so what made you come out of your shell? He was like, I turned 40, basically. Like, it took 40 years to do anything that is anything public. But To Joey's question, real quick. Eric Washington, Bobby Blue wants him fired. Joey wonders, is he having trouble getting command of that room? Or are we just kind of nervous because we lost the game, Cody?
It's probably a confluence of all of those things.
Don't say that.
I am willing to say. I think that the fact that we're 3-2, but our defense has, other than against Dallas, when Dallas's offense was looking incredibly pedestrian, our defense hasn't had that standout, smash mouth football game played yet, and it's apparent to everyone.
Tough match to do it against Philadelphia. Hopefully they're one-dimensional.
It's a very tough match to do it against Philadelphia, and especially Carson Wentz is good under pressure.
Yeah.
So it's a tough matchup, man. I honestly feel that you're going to see what this team is made of after Philadelphia. I've said it before. I'm not on the fire Eric Washington train yet.
We're a whole 2 games away from that.
It would take a lot. Well, yeah, it depends on how bad Cam gets drilled into the dirt against Philadelphia and Baltimore. But I mean, until a team puts up 40 points on us and we have no answer, then I'm not on the fire Eric Washington train yet.
All right.
Too early.
We have 3 calls still to go. Can you believe this?
It's your boy Brandon Herbert, the Black Cat.
What's up, Brandon?
I just have one quick comment, I guess. It's about how I've heard y'all say it for a number of weeks now about Luke Kuechly and him not playing up to par. Now, maybe I'm watching a different game, and maybe he is a tad, slow on his steps because he's the lineman, because the defensive line isn't necessarily doing their job. When you have Dontari Poe, you have KK, the offensive lineman should not even touch Luke. But if you look at him, he's in on still just about every play. Whether he makes the tackle or not, he's right there. So maybe, maybe I'm looking at something different, because I can give you play after play, even the ones that he's missed on, that he's involved in the play somehow. He's been like I said, he might be a second slow on a lot of the plays that you see, but at the same time, he's not playing horribly. And
nobody said he has been.
Trust me, he's just having to do and take on a whole, a little bit more, because if you look at every tackle that he's made in the backfield, he's had to block shed to make that tackle. So if KK and Poe want to make their money, they need to do their job. And
they
then
already
you'll see
made
those
their
flashy
money, bro.
Luke plays. Now, I will say that he may not be making game-changing plays yet, but he's been there close, so it's going to happen. And the Eric Reed thing, I'm tired of people talking about how Eric Reed is playing poorly. People don't understand that you have to get this is like his preseason, and he's learning a new scheme. And in everything, you have to be a little patient with it. And that's all I'm going to say, because people want to be like, he's playing horribly. You have to have patience. It's not you're learning a new scheme, you're going on the fly, getting back into football shape and everything. So just be patient. It'll come. If he's still playing like this week 10 or 11, then that's a problem. Just be patient. All right, guys. Love you guys. Keep pounding.
All right.
Great call, man.
Yeah, great call. I do. Let me just see this. I agree 100% when it comes to the Eric Reed thing. Let's just put it this way here. Look, Look, Luke Kuechly, how about this? He had 11 solo tackles in week 1 against Dallas. He had 8 against Atlanta. He had 3 against Cincinnati, 2 against the Giants, and 8 against Washington. You know, we're just not this is all I'm saying, is that, hey, it's not bad. It's just whelming. And maybe that's us too many high standards when it comes to Luke Kuechly. But when you come out of the phone booth, damn Superman, and do whatever you want, you know, when you don't save the day, we're asking what the hell.
Yeah, and, you know, the fact that, I mean, we have players on this team that we have seen play at all-star levels, and we know that Eric Reed is capable of that also. Cam Newton didn't have a preseason last year, and he started slow. So, yeah, I'm not upset about Eric Reed's start. He has played 2 games. I'm not worried about it. And, yeah, shout out to Brandon for having a super rational call tonight, especially about Luke. Yeah, Luke is around every play. Even on his worst night.
Tackles. He had 8 tackles last game. Nothing to sneeze at.
That's nothing to sneeze at.
2 tackles for loss. That's pretty good, too.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is everyone's just used to seeing Luke play out of his mind. Well, if everyone else is not playing to their potential, it hurts other players on the football team. Luke is fine.
Well, here, though, last year, and it's not a criticism, it's just this, is that last year we said this, a lot of pressure put on the linebackers because of all the blitzing. This year, less blitzing, not great linebacker play yet. Now, maybe this isn't Luke, but still, again, I think we got to bring up, where's Shaq? And not that Shaq is that all this sounds like we're just dumping on people. I don't believe that. I think we just had such high expectations for Shaq Thompson this year. Yeah. And, you know.
He's had a few sacks.
Yeah. Yeah, is that he's been good. He's been good. He hasn't been, but he has had some moments too. We just have been expecting everybody to come in that linebacker group and be the best thing ever. And I don't know if that's the case. But let me see. I think here we go. Last two calls.
This is Brandon from Minnesota.
Hey, Brandon.
I wanted to focus on something that the Black Cat talked about on the post-game show that I didn't think anybody else talked about, which was the decision to not go for it on 4th and 1.
Oh, well, we've talked about it
We had that situation where we decided to punt, whereas Washington decided that they were going to go for it. Ultimately, they went for it, scored a touchdown. We punted, and it only netted us about 30 yards in field position. And it's a tough decision to understand because they have Alex Smith and we have Cam Newton. I thought that maybe Ron Rivera's conservative play calling was costing us games when the Panthers tend to get ahead and go into a run, pass, punt. But I looked back, and since 2017, actually the games that we've lost haven't been ones where we got ahead and then just gave up the lead because of conservative play calling. They've either been games where we're pretty much even with the opponent or we fell behind. So I think that it was really senseless not to go for it on 4th and 1 there, because especially when we know that we need to play from ahead and it's a game on the road.
That's the great argument right there. On the road, make a statement.
And he doesn't feel like it's costing him games. I think, unfortunately, we're going to have to just accept that the Panthers are going to stick with that conservative play calling if Ron Rivera doesn't feel like it's what's costing them the game. We'll hang in there. Keep pounding.
Well, good news is this, with all this talk, if all the noise is getting to David Tepper, he seems to be responsive in many ways, is that Ron Rivera is an awesome coach when he thinks he's about to get fired.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't get all that bad.
All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, listen, everyone sees it now. On 4th and 1, give me a damn yard right now. That needs to be the motto from here on out.
Nut up.
Hey, guys, this is Mel. I just wanted to call in before the show was over and say I'm not really worried. I'm going to make a bold prediction right now. I think we can win against Philly on Sunday.
Look at that.
And here's why.
Look, this is
I said earlier that
J-Bash is saying
I said
this
Sunday
all day.
that this past game, this was a prove-it game for Washington because they came out on Monday Night Football and stunk it up against the Saints, and then they had to kind of prove it against us, and for us it was just another game. Now the tables have turned to where this Sunday is a prove-it game for us to prove that we are a team worth being one of the teams with a winning record, which is crazy. In the NFC, it's like only maybe 5 teams with winning records in the whole NFC. So it's a prove-it game for us. It's also probably a prove-it game for Philly, but I think we can pull it out. It's just my hot take. Hopefully
to grow
we'll pull
and
a
grow,
game out on Sunday. Have a good one. Thanks.
Yeah, the cat calls are dominating. Thank you for that call. When it comes to the NFC, Redskins are 3-2. Rams are 6-0. Geez, how have they already played that many games? Bears are 3-2. Packers 3-2-1. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 teams with winning records. Vikings 3-2-1. That's 5 teams. Saints 4-1. 6 teams. Panthers make it 7 teams with winning records in the NFC. Look, we're competitive. We're a game behind. We're 2 games behind, I think. We're 2 games back of 4-1 versus the Saints. 1 game back of the Saints. So you got to be good there. The cat calls continue to grow, don't they, Cody?
Man, listen, we love it. I mean, this is your show. We say it all the time. You push the conversation forward. We talk about what you want to talk about. We love it, man. Tell your other Panther fans. Eventually, this show is going to be 3 hours of nothing but cat calls. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We love you guys for calling in. All the love. It makes the show go round. It's been awesome, man. More and more every Tuesday.
Yeah. Number's 252-228-5098. We appreciate all the support. Remember, turn your phone to portrait mode. Smash that thumbs up button. Support the show. Whatever you can do. Share the link. All that. All right, good news this. Last couple of points before we get out of here. No, not a lot of injuries. No big news on injury front. Nothing actually to speak of at all. I think that's good. I think that, maybe going into Philadelphia with the memory of last year helps a little bit. Maybe now we're the team that's coming off the loss and the spanking that's got something to prove. And Philadelphia, I think, has shown that they are somewhat vulnerable. The problem is I feel like Philadelphia's getting better right now.
Yeah. Carson Wentz was injured to start the season, had the ACL, came back. He was a little bit rusty. Now that rust has been knocked off of him. The man is playing well, and we're going to have to do a lot to stop him. We have to put pressure, and that backfield has to be able to turn it up because they're going to throw the ball deep. They have no problem doing that. So it's going to be a well-rounded offense that we're going up against, and we're going to have to come out firing on all cylinders and ready to beat that ass.
The matchups I'm looking at I'm looking against Mario Addison against that backup. It was something with a V. He's playing in backup for Jason Peter. Can he expose potentially the weakness that's created? Second matchup that I'm looking at is how does that right side of the line with Moton, with Trey Turner, how they deal with Fletcher Cox, that pass rush. Been okay so far. Ryan Kerrigan wasn't easy for them last week, though.
No, it was not. And another thing I want to bring up, because I feel like we've been very glowing about our offensive line, our left tackle, Clark, we have to give it to him. He's been doing well. He's been brought in to do a very tough job. But he's been struggling a little bit, and most of the pressure has been coming from that left side, and I think that they're going to end up noticing that. So we're probably going to end up sliding a lot of the protection to the left side, and that means Fletcher might have more time to work on that right side of the line. So yeah, our whole line is going to have to play in tandem.
Cody, one of the things we talked about was Ron Rivera, kind of the attitude change a little bit that we've heard from him in the past, and that kind of I've keyed in saying like, hey, you used to take it all for the team. Look, man, these guys are giving Jordan Rodriguez still a hard time. Look, this is a question from Jordan Rodriguez early on. I feel like she's trying to be nice to Ron. Actually, I don't think she's trying to be nice to Ron Rivera. I think she's trying to suck up to Ron Rivera, much like I would do if I was the reporter in this case. I wonder if this is A, either some male on female kind of chauvinism, or B, and not that I'm trying to get a hashtag started, I'm not trying to do that, or if this is just Ron Rivera being snarky. Here's Ron Rivera talking with Jordan Rodriguez in the postgame.
When 5 in the last 2 games, how do you go about it? I know you guys don't want to change the routine or change the way that you practice, and you guys have systems and everything, but what does it take to kind of break that repetitive mental mistakes that seem to keep popping up the last 2 games?
I'm not sure which mental mistakes you're talking about.
The mistakes in general, just the turnovers.
What mistakes?
Well, the hard part is
like that. I feel like
we've had to deal with some pretty inclement weather in the last couple.
There's
of
your
weeks.
weather comment.
Secondly,
Yeah, dude,
those
that's
are things
bullshit.
that are going to happen in games. You know.
So here's to me I feel
had-
like that is the Ron, like she teed up the Ron Rivera response. And the Ron Rivera response is you gotta be accountable. Can't make those mental errors. She tries to throw him the softball, and he's a jerk back to her. What mental mistakes?
Yeah,
like you
what
didn't
mental
make
mistakes?
no
Like, they're
damn
not
mental
obvious to everyone watching the game. Come on, dude. Oh, it pisses me off so bad, dude. I try and hold it in, but dude.
I think it's her. I think he's zigging her back for all that Cam mess last year. Maybe I don't know, but yeah,
people are so butthurt about that from last year, dude. It's time to move on. Jordan's been one of our best beat reporters for a long time now.
There you go. Good
I
job.
don't know.
All right, favorite part of the press conference. I'm about to cue it up. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but here's Ron Rivera.
Have those offside penalties, particularly from players so close to the ball, is that particularly frustrating?
Well, the frustrating part is how close they were to if we could hold it just a little bit longer. You know.
That's what she said.
It's the unfortunate part of our game.
Can you hold that off just a little bit longer?
You know,
Not so
last
fast.
year we were the least penalized team. This year we're one of the least penalized teams.
All right, so this, to me, Cody, I don't get this.
It's unfortunate.
It sounded to me like this was like a teenager or a young man dealing with premature ejaculation. Like, it would have been nice if we could have just held it, but we couldn't. I'm sorry. It's a little embarrassing we didn't, that it happened like that. It usually doesn't happen like that. I thought this is that.
It's never been a problem for me. So I don't know what you're talking about.
That's what you say. That's never happened before.
Yeah, never happened.
But here's
I'm
the
sorry.
thing that was crazy with the Ron Rivera stuff is that, like, he says here, and let me just play it one more time because I don't even know how he says it. And so here it goes something like
Have
this.
those offside penalties, particularly from players so close to the ball, is that particularly frustrating?
Well, the frustrating part is how close they were to if we could hold it just a little bit longer. You know, it's the unfortunate part of the game as far as discipline's concerned.
To me, I get all right. That's where I'm upset, Cody. It's the unfortunate part of the game. What do you mean it's the unfortunate part of the game?
Yeah, like that's not something that you can control.
Like, yeah, it's the unfortunate part of the game that somebody jumped and got a little anxious. Like, well, no shit. It's a penalty. I don't think Dontari Poe was like, damn. It's just like the same thing. You know what? We got one on their defense where they jumped because we were about to get a delay of game. And they were like, no way. They're going to snap the ball. And he jumped. And instead of us getting a delay of game, we got a dang offsides penalty against them. But what do you mean it's the unfortunate? Of course it's the unfortunate. It's a penalty.
Yeah, it's so stupid. And you know what? The tough thing about this is I really want to like Ron Rivera And I do like Ron Rivera. I think
he's better than a lot of them out there.
He's better than a lot of them. He's done good things for the team. He's done good things for the community.
It's his ceiling, the roof, though.
Yeah, the ceiling is the roof, and it's like now we're wondering if that roof is a little bit too low to bring us all the way. Which, I mean, that's what we all want.
All right, we're 2 hours and 23 minutes into the longest podcast in the history of podcasts, and it's been fun. It's been amazing. My name's Tony Dunn. It's at @Cat_Chronicles. You made this show great. Record number of calls, 15 or 16 cat calls tonight. It was amazing. The number's 252-228-5098. We do this on the post game. We'll try to bring you more and more content, but as long as you guys want to keep going, we're going to keep going, and that's what we did tonight. Cody, do you think the Panthers have what it takes to beat the Philadelphia Eagles on the road? Are you ready to pick them in Philadelphia winning this game?
Man, I woke up this morning thinking about what I would answer to this question. I'm going to say yes, man.
That's because we're homers. We're going to say yes no matter what.
Well, I'm not always going to say yes if I don't feel that we're going to win, but you know what? After all the shit I've taught in this show and all the bad things I've pinpointed out, I do think that we're capable of bringing home the W.
That's
we need this so bad.
We are capable of it.
We need this so bad. I'm not picking a score. I'm just not even going to do that.
I'm picking the Panthers because I'm not going to pick against them. I think we can win. It's going to be a tough one, though, ain't it?
This, in my opinion, you know how you were saying if Graham Gano didn't make that field goal in New York, that might have changed the trajectory of our season. I feel you will know what kind of team we are or are not at the end of Philadelphia.
David Newton is gone? Is this true?
No way. Life is not that wonderful.
That's what Jeff Hodge just said. At least he's gone now.
I doubt it, unless I'm wrong.
Man. All right. Okay, so here is that tough game. It is. This is a game, man. You win this game, all of a sudden everybody's talking that we're the toast of the town. So, all right. Let's ice these suckers up and get on out of here. It's the longest segment on the longest. It's the longest running segment on the longest running podcast. That's right. Longest running Panthers podcast. Longest running podcast of the season. Yes. And the longest running segment being the Ice Up Picks. This is where we tell somebody to ice up, to toughen up, to get it together. And just like Steve Smith, this is our homage to Steve Smith. No one is safe. Your children aren't safe. He'll smack his grandma to get that first down. He'll punch you in the face. And boy, I got an ice up pick for you tonight, Cody. Cody, my ice up pick, I hate to do this. I'm going to throw a man under the bus. I'm going to kick a guy while he's down because that, unfortunately, is what he would do. Nathan Conley's getting iced up, my friend. That's right. The former WFNZ radio host, Pats fan, Nathan Conley, picker of all fights. All he likes to do is pick a fight with you on the radio, on the internet, and be a jerk, kind of. He's been on this show, but still, despite being on the show, he'll be a jerk to us on the internet. And it's just part of his personality. It's a Boston guy. It's his thing. So he puts out on Twitter. By the way, he is no longer with WFNZ. He sells cars for that. What's the song? The Jeep place.
Chrysler Town and Country.
The Jeep place in. It's the Jeep place in Charlotte, and TD does the commercials for them. Hefner.
Chrysler Jeep Dodge.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You hear the Jeep Dodge, that moniker in the back. Thomas Davis gets up there and does So Nathan Conley, who works there now, tweets out this: the Panthers are 0-1 with a non-PED Thomas Davis. And then this tweet was picked up by Kelly Davis, who saw this and said to Nathan Conley, hey, why don't you do us a favor and go tell your boss Thomas Davis won't be making y'all's commercials anymore. And then it turned into to Nathan Conley going, "Hey, I was just a joke. You take it the wrong way, and this and that." And she said it won't that funny to me. Tell your boss we ain't doing his commercials anymore. And I'm telling you, you saw Nathan Conley delete the tweet to backpedal, get nervous, and look, I don't think he should get fired. I don't like this. I don't like the internet lynching. But I tell you this, is Nathan Conley, you just got reminded that sometimes when you say shit, it matters. And to you, I said to him, I tweeted him back, that's funny, because last time I checked, I didn't put that the last time I checked, that's funny, I did say, but I said this, is that it turns out, I asked him, I said, question for you, are the Pats 0-1 or 0-2 in Super Bowls that they didn't cheat? He did retweet that and say, that's what I'm talking about. That's the spirit of what Twitter was about. I busted up your joke, brother. Don't joke on the guys. Remember where your bread is buttered, folks. That's my ice-up pick to you, Nathan Conley. What you got for us tonight, Cody?
Listen, man, tonight I am icing up a man who wears a golden jacket, who is in the NFL Hall of Fame. More importantly, more baffling to me is that this man used to work under Norv Turner. Tonight, I am icing up LaDainian Tomlinson.
What? He's one of my favorites. What'd he do?
He's not one of my favorites, and especially after what he just said. You know, we bash on Colin Cowherd and all these idiots that have never played high-level football in their life. But then when you have someone on the level of LT just talking a bunch of nonsense. In the post-game show for the NFL, it's him, Deion Sanders, and Shannon Sharp, and the question was posed to them, what is wrong with Cam Newton and this Panthers offense? So, one, the question's already messed up.
Yeah, it's jacked up. Dumb question.
It's already jacked up. But then LT goes on to say that Cam Newton is not capable of doing what Norv Turner requires of him to do. The 5 to 7 step drops, the throwing the ball with rhythm and accuracy that we have seen Cam Newton do better this year than any other year of his career. I don't understand how someone that has been this close to the game of football and has been watching football this long, and Cam Newton can say something that dumb and put it out there as a matter of fact. And then, by the way, if something that we haven't brought up is that Cam Newton, if you compare his stats to Alex Smith, better completion percentage, better passing yards, better touchdown to interception ratio, better passer rating, and that somehow Cam Newton is the problem because he doesn't do what Norv Turner asked him to do. Dude, I'm sorry, man. This is the type of shit that drives me up the wall. LT, I have nothing more to say to you than to ice up, son. Know your facts or don't say shit at all.
Yeah, you just got moved down the list of non-Panther favorites. You're way, way down on the list now. Just reminded me, Randy Moss, still my favorite. Marshall Faulk, also my second favorite. Love you guys. Wish you were Panthers. All right, Ice, up to you. All right, it's the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Tuesday night, we've gone 2.5 hours, Cody. It's going to be like a show. We're going to be like our own radio station before you know it. But until then, where can they follow you on Twitter?
CODYLAC at Cody Lack on Twitter. That's me, man.
That's my man right there. Cody's been the best tonight. He has been a fantastic contribution to the show. You can see the growth of the show since you've come on, Cody. I really appreciate you hanging out with me tonight, man.
Thanks, man. Happy to do it. Love it.
All right, Tony Dunn, Professor Cat_Chronicles on Twitter. Consider supporting us on Patreon. But you know what you do? Let's get 18 calls next week. We'll keep going, baby. We'll keep going because you know what we do as Panther fans? We keep pounding.
keep pounding Big Philly.